As stated in the previous video, the original covenant that Yah made with the people of Israel, our ancestors, is still in force today. We are still to keep the laws, regulations, decrees, and instructions our forefathers agreed to. The covenant has not been replaced by the promised new covenant as yet, despite what some claim. For we read, "But at last my people will confess their sins and the sins of their ancestors for betraying me and being hostile toward me. When I have turned their hostility back on them and brought them to the land of their enemies, then at last their stubborn hearts will be humbled, and they will pay for their sins. Then I will remember my covenant with Jacob, and my covenant with Isaac, and my covenant with Abraham, and I will remember the land. For the land must be abandoned to enjoy its years of Sabbath rest as it lies deserted. At last the people will pay for their sins, for they have continually rejected my regulations and despised my decrees. But despite all this, I will not utterly reject or despise them while they are in exile in the land of their enemies. I will not cancel my covenant with them by wiping them out, for I am Yah their Elohim. For their sakes, I will remember my ancient covenant with their ancestors, whom I brought out of the land of Egypt in the sight of all the nations, that I might be their Elohim. I am Yah. These are the decrees, regulations, and instructions that Yah gave through Moses on Mount Sinai, as evidence of the relationship between himself and the Israelites." Note that Yah said the covenant can be canceled by Israel, his chosen people, being wiped out. That has not been the case. Therefore, the original covenant he made with us at Sinai is still in place and in force today. Make no mistake about that. And this covenant, the same that was made on Mount Sinai, is evidence of the relationship between Yah and the people of Israel. Any deviation from the original covenant is not evidence of that relationship. This is clear. The covenant was to be the sign that said to the world, the children of Israel are the chosen people of Yah. The only evidence we have today of that fact are the curses that rest on us, as we are still scattered among the various nations we were led away captive to as slaves on ships. And one important thing to understand about the new covenant is that it will not involve a new set of laws, or doing away of laws, as some might think. Instead, the new covenant will just be Yah's way of getting us to keep our end of the bargain, getting us to live up to our promise to keep the laws, regulations, decrees, and instructions he listed at Sinai, and it will take a literal miracle in order for this to happen. Remember, Yah does not change. "I am Yah, I do not change. That is why you descendants of Jacob are not already destroyed. So neither can his law change. I tell you the truth, until heaven and earth disappear, not even the smallest detail of Elohim's law will disappear until its purpose is achieved." That takes us to the new covenant. What exactly is it anyway? "The day is coming," says Yah, "when I will make a new covenant with the people of Israel and Judah. This covenant will not be like the one I made with their ancestors when I took them by the hand and brought them out of the land of Egypt. They broke that covenant, though I loved them as a husband loves his wife," says Yah. "But this is the new covenant I will make with the people of Israel on that day," says Yah. "I will put my instructions deep within them, and I will write them on their hearts. I will be their Elohim, and they will be my people. And they will not need to teach their neighbors, nor will they need to teach their relatives, saying, 'You should know Yah.' For everyone, from the least to the greatest, will know me already," says Yah. "And I will forgive their wickedness, and I will never again remember their sins." As stated, the old covenant is still in force until the new covenant replaces it, but that time is yet future, as you will see. And we are not talking about laws being changed or replaced. Our ability to keep those laws will be the only thing that will change. And, as stated, it will take a literal miracle in order for us to keep our promise to uphold Yah's laws. The book of Ezekiel sheds more light on how this will happen. "Therefore, give the people of Israel this message from the sovereign Yah. I am bringing you back, but not because you deserve it. I am doing it to protect my pure name, on which you brought shame while you were scattered among the nations. I will show how pure my name is, the name on which you brought shame among the nations. And when I reveal my purity through you before their very eyes, says the sovereign Yah, then the nations will know that I am Yah. For I will gather you up from all the nations, and bring you home again to your land. Then I will sprinkle clean water on you, and you will be clean. Your filth will be washed away, and you will no longer worship idols. And I will give you a new heart, and I will put a new spirit in you. I will take out your stony, stubborn heart and give you a tender, responsive heart. And I will put my spirit in you so that you will follow my decrees and be careful to obey my regulations. And you will live in Israel, the land I gave your ancestors long ago. You will be my people, and I will be your Elohim. I will cleanse you of your filthy behavior. I will give you good crops of grain, and I will send no more famines on the land. I will give you great harvests from your fruit trees and fields, and never again will the surrounding nations be able to scoff at your land for its famines. Then you will remember your past sins and despise yourselves for all the detestable things you did. But remember, says the sovereign Yah, I am not doing this because you deserve it. O my people Israel, you should be utterly ashamed of all you have done. This is what the sovereign Yah says. When I cleanse you from your sins, I will repopulate your cities, and the ruins will be rebuilt. The fields that used to lie empty and desolate in plain view of everyone will again be farmed. And when I bring you back, people will say, this former wasteland is now like the Garden of Eden. The abandoned and ruined cities now have strong walls and are filled with people. Then the surrounding nations that survive will know that I, Yah, have rebuilt the ruins and replanted the wasteland. For I, Yah, have spoken, and I will do what I say. This is what the sovereign Yah says. I am ready to hear Israel's prayers and to increase their numbers like a flock. They will be as numerous as the sacred flocks that fill Jerusalem's streets at the time of her festivals. The ruined cities will be crowded with people once more, and everyone will know that I am Yah. Again, this miraculous event is yet future, and it will take place following the prophesied regathering of Israel. I will strengthen Judah and save Israel. I will restore them because of my compassion. It will be as though I had never rejected them, for I am Yah the Elohim who will hear their cries. The people of Israel will become like mighty warriors, and their hearts will be made happy as if by wine. Their children too will see it and be glad. Their hearts will rejoice in Yah. When I whistle to them, they will come running, for I have redeemed them. From the few who are left, they will grow as numerous as they were before. Though I have scattered them like seeds among the nations, they will still remember me in distant lands. They and their children will survive and return again to Israel. I will bring them back from Egypt and gather them from Assyria. I will resettle them in Gilead and Lebanon until there is no more room for them at all. They will pass safely through the sea of distress, for the waves of the sea will be held back, and the waters of the Nile will dry up. The pride of Assyria will be crushed, and the rule of Egypt will end. By my power I will make my people strong, and by my authority they will go wherever they wish. I, Yah, have spoken. It is important to note that when Egypt is mentioned in prophecy, it is not literal Egypt being referenced, but what Egypt represented to ancient Israel, that is, slavery. So Moses said to the people, "This is a day to remember forever, the day that you left Egypt, the place of your slavery." We are still in spiritual Egypt, Assyria, and Babylon today. Egypt, as stated in Exodus 13:3, represents slavery or bondage, whereas Assyria represents exile. At that time, the king of Assyria exiled the Israelites to Assyria and placed them in colonies in Halah, along the banks of the Habor River in Gozan, and in the cities of the Medes. And Babylon represents captivity. Nebuchadnezzar led King Jehoiakim away as a captive to Babylon, along with the queen mother, his wives and officials, and all Jerusalem's elite. Prophecies of Israel's regathering abound in Scripture. As for the timing of the regathering, which will take place just before the new covenant is established, we are told, "Someday, O Israel, I will gather you. I will gather the remnant who are left. I will bring you together again like sheep in a pen, like a flock in its pasture. Yes, your land will again be filled with noisy crowds. Your leader will break out and lead you out of exile, out through the gates of the enemy cities, back to your own land. Your king will lead you. Yah himself will guide you." Our king will lead us, we are told. This is exactly what Yeshua himself stated to the 12 disciples. "And then at last, the sign that the Son of Man is coming will appear in the heavens, and there will be deep mourning among all the peoples of the earth. And they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory, and he will send out his heavenly messengers with the mighty blast of a trumpet, and they will gather his chosen ones from all over the world, from the farthest ends of the earth and heaven. And again he said, "But when the Son of Man comes in his glory, and all the heavenly messengers with him, then he will sit upon his glorious throne. All the nations will be gathered in his presence, and he will separate the people as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. He will place the sheep at his right hand and the goats at his left. Then the king will say to those on his right, 'Come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the creation of the world.'" And this he said to coincide with the words of the prophet Ezekiel. "For this is what the sovereign Yah says, I myself will search and find my sheep. I will be like a shepherd looking for his scattered flock. I will find my sheep and rescue them from all the places where they were scattered on that dark and cloudy day. I will bring them back home to their own land of Israel from among the peoples and nations. I will feed them on the mountains of Israel and by the rivers and in all the places where people live. Yes, I will give them good pasture land on the high hills of Israel. There they will lie down in pleasant places and feed in the lush pastures of the hills. I myself will tend my sheep and give them a place to lie down in peace, says the sovereign Yah. I will search for my lost ones who strayed away, and I will bring them safely home again. I will bandage the injured and strengthen the weak, but I will destroy those who are fat and powerful. I will feed them, yes, feed them justice. And as for you, my flock, this is what the sovereign Yah says to his people. I will judge between one animal of the flock and another, separating the sheep from the goats." So what does all this prove? Well, for one thing, it tells us that Israel has not been regathered as yet, because that will only happen when Yeshua returns. We also know that we are not currently under the new covenant, because that will be established after we have been regathered. We also know how the covenant was broken, which resulted in our being scattered as slaves and the curses being poured out on us as a people. But where are we now? What is our purpose as a scattered flock? While the answers to these questions won't be given in full in this video, look for many answers in future videos. But I can say this, the healing will only begin if and when we begin to obey Yah. We must not be like our rebellious ancestors. Rather, we are to live up to the following. In the future, when you experience all these blessings and curses I have listed for you, and when you are living among the nations to which Yah your Elohim has exiled you, take to heart all these instructions. If at that time you and your children return to Yah your Elohim, and if you obey with all your heart and all your soul all the commands I have given you today, then Yah your Elohim will restore your fortunes. He will have mercy on you and gather you back from all the nations where he has scattered you. Even though you are banished to the ends of the earth, Yah your Elohim will gather you from there and bring you back again. Yah your Elohim will return you to the land that belonged to your ancestors, and you will possess that land again. Then he will make you even more prosperous and numerous than your ancestors. Yah your Elohim will change your heart and the hearts of all your descendants, so that you will love him with all your heart and soul, and so you may live. Yah your Elohim will inflict all these curses on your enemies and on those who hate and persecute you. Then you will again obey Yah and keep all his commands that I am giving you today. Yah your Elohim will then make you successful in everything you do. He will give you many children and numerous livestock, and he will cause your fields to produce abundant harvests, for Yah will again delight in being good to you as he was to your ancestors. Yah your Elohim will delight in you if you obey his voice and keep the commands and decrees written in this book of instruction, and if you turn to Yah your Elohim with all your heart and soul.